everyone. Good evening.
Excuse me, everyone. We'd like to get started. Thank you.
I'm up here.
I might be, if this one here, I might be blind. Two different things, all the check. But he'll be on. Just telling you. Look at this. Some of this about the tree, some of it about something else, and then everything's. Hello, good evening. We will now call the regular meeting to order. It is now 7:01. Requirements of the Sunshine Law have been met. This meeting was advertised in the Burlington County Times on January the 6th, 2023. An electronic notice was given to the NJAC 5:39-1.5. We have talked previously about the Pledge of Allegiance, and if we have, obviously veterans here, that we want them to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. And, I think it's just a perfect evening to have our former chief, Steve Ent, come up and lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us. So, Steve, if you can come up, that would be great.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will now have a moment of silence. Roll call.
Committeewoman Berkeley.
Present.
Committeeman Carr.
Present.
Committeewoman Mungo.
Present.
Committeewoman Wright.
Right. Present.
Mayor Henley.
Present.
Also present, Township Solicitor, Township Administrator, Acting Police Chief, Fire EMS Chief.
We will now have a presentation of our kickball trophy. So for anyone who doesn't know, we did the local towns, we had a fundraiser for children with disabilities. And we had a kickball tournament, which, we had police officers and people from the township who participated, our administrator, myself, Odie, and we actually won the tournament. So they present us with a trophy. Then next year, we would do the same thing, and we would elect to have it at our home field or somewhere else, and then we would pass that trophy on, probably to ourselves again, but to whoever will win. So we had residents that signed up and came out who gave money as well. So please keep your eye out next year. I'm a fantastic coach. That's part of the reason we won. But other than that, everyone really had a great time, really participated and worked hard. And so, after Tara. Whatever gets us the most attention.
So here's the trophy right here. So I'm Tara Astor, and I also happen to be a councilwoman in Mount Holly. I'm here presenting on behalf of Casey Carty and the 5-district kickball committee, which was Mount Holly, Lumberton, Hainesport, East Hampton, and West Hampton, the winners. And I did play myself, lost miserably, but had a great time. We raised over $2,200 for the Mount Holly Elks Lodge 848 Special Needs Children's Fund. And thank you, West Hampton, for participating, and congratulations on winning. And as you already stated, the winner gets to host the next tournament. So we will see you all on the kickball field next year right here in West Hampton. And hopefully we can get the word out and have more people participate, because It was a really great time, and it was so nice to have, meet and play and just have a good time with everyone from the surrounding towns. And we love to see it grow, raise more money, and just have a great time. So thank you and congratulations. And
Thank you for the invitation. It was a great time. We can probably set it up here for the day. That's what we should do. Set it up there. That's nice. So we will now do the swearing in of Brian Ferguson, Chief of Police.
Resolution.
Where's the resolution at? Resolution 140-23, resolution appointing Chief of Police. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second, Berkeley.
Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Yay.
I, Brian Ferguson, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith
I will bear true
and
faith
allegiance to do the same
and allegiance to do the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
all
all duties
of Chief of Police,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my
so
ability.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I gotta get this. This is a string. Thank you.
So I have a little bit of a speech, it won't be too long. I'm probably a public speaker, but I have gotten used to it over the years. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. I stand before you today with a deep sense of responsibility and commitment as the newly appointed Chief of West Hampton Township. It is both an honor and privilege to serve this remarkable community. And I want to express my gratitude to the current Town Council, Mayor Sandy Henley, and Township Administrator Wendy Gibson, and of course the dedicated men and women of the West Hampton Township Police Department for entrusting me with this crucial role. With more than 2 decades of law enforcement experience and over 29 years being involved in emergency services, my journey has been comprehensive and diverse. I've had the privilege to serve in several key areas in our department. I came up as a patrolman. I was then promoted to a sergeant, oversaw our traffic safety unit. I've been a part of administration as a lieutenant since 2015. I oversaw our K-9 program, our Office of Emergency Management, and our Investigations Bureau. Throughout my career, my focus has always been on building a strong community ties through collaboration, transparency, and mutual respect. Our community is the heart and soul of what we do as law enforcement officers. We're here to protect and serve you, and it is our mission to ensure that
every resident has safety, security, and the well-being, knowing that they will be protected by the men and women of the West Hampton Township Police Department. So whether you're a business owner, a resident, or a visitor to our township, I pledge to you that I will work tirelessly to uphold these principles and foster a strong sense of trust and cooperation between the police force and the community we serve. I'm well aware of the challenges of policing in today's environment. We will not shy away from these challenges. Instead, we will confront them head-on. Transparency, accountability, and community engagement will be the cornerstone of my approach to policing. Some key priorities, principles that I will work moving forward. One will be with community engagement. I'll actively seek your input and feedback and will listen to the public. Your perspective is essential in shaping our policies and practices. I will make sure the department is transparent. We will strive to be as open and transparent as possible with our actions and decisions. We will work to earn your trust through honesty and accountability. Accountability, my officers will be upheld to the highest values and will be recognized and rewarded for the job they are doing day to day. Training and development, community policing, equity and fairness, public safety will be my top priority, and that is your safety. We'll work tirelessly to prevent and address crime while addressing the root causes that contribute to it. And finally, collaboration. We will collaborate with community organizations, local leaders, and other stakeholders to address the broader issues affecting our township. I also recognize that it's essential for us to address the mental health and well-being of my officers, as their mental health and emotional health directly impact their ability to serve you effectively. Before I conclude, there's a group of individuals who deserve my heartfelt gratitude, and they're my family. I want to thank my sister and my mother. They have stood by my side throughout my career, offering unwavering support, understanding, and sacrifice. To my wife, Adrienne, your love and encouragement has been my rock. You endured long nights at this family gathering and shared the weight of many nights and holidays alone that had you feeling probably like a single parent. Your patience and strength sustained me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To my children, you understand the demands of my profession has been remarkable. Your resilience and understanding have been motivation for me to work tirelessly and to make our community a safer place. I'm proud of the people you are becoming and appreciate your sacrifices. Always remember when I tell you, hard work will pay off for you. Without them, I would not be here today as your chief. To my extended family and friends, your unwavering support has been a source of strength, and I'm grateful for your love, encouragement, and support you have provided me throughout this journey. I pledge to all of you that I will continue to uphold the values of integrity, dedication, and service as I lead the West Hampton Township Police Department in the future. In closing, I want you to know that my door is always open. I encourage you to reach out to me, share your concerns, and engage with us in a constructive dialogue. I look forward to meeting most of you at the community events that I look forward to hosting, township meetings, and other public forums where we can discuss your concerns and ideas. Together, we can build a safer and more unified community. Changes take time, but I am committed to leading a police force that you can trust and be proud of. I look forward to working together with all of you to make West Hampton Township a safer and more inclusive place for everyone. I want to thank you as we embark on this journey towards a better and safer future together. Thank you. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working for 5 chiefs. So this time, with all 5 of the gentlemen, they are here tonight, would stand up. And, Chief Bench just retired. Chief Otto, right before him. Chief Van Skyver. Chief Smith first, then Chief Van Skyver, and even Chief Bruce Reed, who hired me, is here tonight as well. I'd like to thank the public for coming out. A lot of familiar faces to see. And I'll see you throughout the rest of my career here in West Hampton. Thank you.
We'll now take a brief break to celebrate with our new chief. Hello. We're going to get started. So we will now go to approval of minutes. September 5th, 2023, executive session minutes. Do we have a motion?
Berkeley move.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
September 5th, 2023, regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Any? Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Monthly reports. We have construction, police, public works, tax collector, and court. We will now open meeting for public comment on agenda items only. Please remember to state your name and address for the record. Reminder, this is for comment only. It is not intended as a question and answer period. If you would like a response, please leave your contact information on the podium so that we can respond appropriately. No. Okay. So do we have all in favor to close public comment?
Yes.
Resolution 141-23, payment of vouchers. This resolution approves the payment of bills through 9/19/2023. Do we have a motion?
Move Berkeley.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright? Yes. Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
142-23, resolution appointing municipal clerk. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Well,
Second.
okay. Jamie first,
I got
Amy
it.
second. All right. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Certainly.
As you know that I sent you and our attorney an email with some questions about numbers in this. One of the numbers has been corrected, but the other has not. And I think if we're going to have a motion, we need to have the correct numbers. I was given well, there's two ways of fixing this. We could amend this and take out the part that talks about salary and just put to be determined, or we could discuss this in executive session before we pass it. And I know we're going to have an executive session, but it's at the end of the meeting. So which would you like to go? Which route?
I don't think it's my choice. I think it was whatever you feel is necessary.
Okay,
I don't want to make that decision for you. You know what I'm saying?
because we've not discussed this number for a salary increase, and it doesn't match up with some of the information I have, I would like to make a motion to amend, to take out 1, 2, 3, the third paragraph starting with the salary of, and the fourth paragraph, and replace it with salary to be determined.
Anyone second the motion?
Nope.
So in all fairness, I know there's a lot of people here, but I'm going to make a motion to go into executive to discuss this because I think it's fair if Nancy has questions. So I'd like to make a motion to go into executive. Is anybody going to second that?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
I promise we'll make this as quick as possible. Thank you, guys. I know that no one's here for necessarily that, but it's township business that we have to take care of. Thanks. Let's go ahead.
Thank you. You're my nurse. My physical therapist. Thank you.
Resolution 142-23, resolution appointing municipal clerk. I believe we had a motion and a second. We had a discussion, so roll call.
Berkeley?
No.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1-0.
143-23, resolution approving tax refund. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Open meeting for public comment. Please address please remember to state your name and address for the record. Reminder, this is for comment only. It is not intended for a question and answer period. If you would like a response, please leave your name and your contact information on the podium so that we can respond appropriately. And before we start, Bob, you had a message.
Is that better? I had it backwards, sorry. So my understanding is that many people are here to speak about the development of the warehouse on Springside Road. I just want everybody to know that there's currently an application pending before the Land Development Board. If you have objections to that application, you need to make your statements to the Land Development Board, not the committee. The committee has no decision-making power on that application. So if you do have, you're more than welcome to make your statements today. Just know that it's not going to be part of the record and not considered in that decision. So, thank you.
Yep.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Benita Jones, 20 Amera Lane. I'm also the commander of Post 509, and just wanted to let the committee and people know that this month is National Suicide Prevention Month. With that, today's #1 issue facing veterans in the community is suicide. It's estimated between 17 and 22 veterans or service members take their lives each day. That's more than 6,000 annually. The rate of suicide in veterans is more than 50% higher than that of non-veteran adults. As the global war on terrorism continues, there will be more veterans facing mental health issues and post-traumatic stress disorder. With that, the American Legion is activating a national platform to reduce the rate of veteran suicide, and it's called Be the One. It's a campaign to destigmatize and asking for mental health support, created for those with mental health issues to speak freely and get the support they need. It's also to provide peer-to-peer support and resources in the local community. We also like to identify issues and find resources for support. And you'd probably say, what can I do as a civilian? The stigma associated with mental health issues is a barrier to veterans seeking assistance. What you can do is ask a veteran in your life how they are doing. Listen to when a veteran needs to talk. Reach out when a veteran is struggling. What the American Legion Post 509 does is we like to educate members and other veterans and civilians about the campaign. We'll have resources at our posts, and we'd like to share success stories. The quickest way to get help for your veteran or someone that you know is to call 988 and press 1. You can text 838-255 or visit the VA Crisis Line website. For more information, you can also visit us at Post 509, and any one of our veterans will be able to help you. That's all I have on the Be the One campaign for Post 509. Also, what I would like to address is that for Public Works, we have a uncompleted spot in the back of our building that I know it's going to get chilly pretty soon, and there's exposed pipes back there. If we could get those, get that covered up in the back. And also our handicap ramp. There's some concrete issues. I know I mentioned it to you at the last meeting, but I just wanted to make note of it. Our handicap ramp needs some concrete. There's some concrete issues for that. And I'd like to turn it over to the adjutant of Post 509, Comrade Miller.
Good afternoon, Michelle Miller, Adjutant 509, 8 Steinway Court, West Hampton. And I just came for a follow-up to ask about the funding. I know the discussion went on to just put it on the record, find that I was just following up on the funding to complete the roof. So, We still are working on our updated of our grant from Congressman Kim, and it's just taking a little long. We do have a contractor, and that is moving along, but any other funding for the roof won't be covered by that. So I know it was on discussion, it was last month, so we're just here for a follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Sir. I saw you with your hand up, I couldn't let you go in front of the ladies. I saw you with your hand up, I couldn't let you go in front of the ladies.
This is about the warehouse, and I know what you're saying.
Excuse me, sir, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Sir.
Sir?
Can you state your name and your address?
Oh, yeah. Roger Randall, 200 Olive Street, Grand Hookus. Well, this is my point, this is why we're here tonight. I know this isn't the Land Development Board, but we are all constituents. We all carry a vote. And when I wrote, the little thing I wrote on the top, before I got the people to sign, it says, "We the people, for the people, by the people." And I think in America a lot nowadays, we forget about the people. It's the people that make the country. We need businesses to survive, but businesses need us. Communities need us. We are an important part of the community. I got about 100 signatures here. I'm going to get more because I ain't going to stop. These are people that don't want it. Rancocas has over 100 houses in it. That's over $1 million a year property taxes. What is the property tax for this going to bring? And you're going to alienate, this is nothing. I've been walking around town, and I can't get to everyone because they're working and all, and not one person has said no to me, and these are your constituents. These are the people that politicians need to listen to. This isn't the Land Development Board, but you represent us. And we pay taxes, and we want to be represented, and you don't know how beautiful that town was. I know progress happens. I know 295 is there. But dollar bills should not take precedent over people, because if you have dollar bills and no people, you don't have a community, and we want to keep our community. These people, Fran Dunphy's husband here, her mother put that town on the National Register. Because why? This doesn't make her special. She had pride in it. People in that town, Rancocas was the only town in West Hampton for over 100 years. We don't think we're special, but we're part of the community. We're a long-standing part of that community, and I'm talking to you as politicians who represent the people to represent us. That's what it's about. It's not about dollar bills. It's not about money. Dollar bills say, "In God we trust," because they don't trust anyone else. We need to go back and make our country about the people who live in it. Because when you care about us, we care about you, and we're stronger. We need to be together. Politicians and constituents make one and a better community. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
What? Lady first.
Christina Getz at 109 West Maple Tree Drive. I just wanted to ask, or say a recommendation. I am friends with somebody that's a committee man on the Pemberton Township Committee, and their committee came together this year, and the committee voted unanimously to put a stop to putting warehouses, where they did a resolution of an ordinance. They all came together. They needed like a 5 out of 5 vote for it to happen. And what that does is it pauses any new applications for a warehouse to happen. So that way for the next 2 years, like I think they had to put an end date on it. I believe it's Robert's firm that was a part of that, one of his people. And so any new applications that come through, while they're revisiting their master plan or their examination, they don't have to accept any new applications for a warehouse while they're redoing that. So I thought that would be nice if we could come together and do that so things don't keep happening, along with what you guys already did, thankfully. I appreciate that with the, rezoning the land with the Land Development Board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Savoy, 105 Wills Avenue, Rancocas Village. Yes?
Speak up, please.
Up? How's this? All right.
Or just put your head down.
I like
The
that.
address is good? Yeah, I have an issue with the number of warehouses, but it's really more a safety issue of all the traffic that's on Springside. We've had accidents. I see the medevacs coming, the ambulances, the fire trucks, the condos, the townhouses, they're not open yet. There's warehouses further down the street, they're not open yet. I really feel it's a safety issue, and I'd really like to see that change. I understand you're telling me you can't say anything about that, so it is what it is. I also have a question, I guess, about, across the street from the village is the athletic fields, and I'm happy that they're there, happy to see people using them. But those lights, buffer around Rancocas Village, I'd like to see that potentially expanded, add some additional trees there, because those trees are aging eventually. Some of them are going to go more, so I'd like to see some of that, and if you could help us, I'd appreciate that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
How's this?
Perfect.
Hi, Mayor, Council. Two items real quick. The first one, my name is Jeff Scazafava, 110 Main Street, and I'm Nora Dumpty's son-in-law. First one would be, I brought a photo with to show you guys, and you can I'm sure you know what it is. And I was walking my dog on 3rd Street when they were cutting the trees, and I stopped and I talked to the guy in the yellow vest, not the guy with the red, and had a quick conversation with him and asked him why they were cutting live trees down at the ground. And they were taking the branches and shoving them into the chipping machine as I was watching them. And they weren't dead trees. And I asked him under what authority they were doing that, and he said that they were doing it at the direction of the town on behalf of PSE&G. He didn't know a name, and I got out of his way. But my question would be that I think in light of this, I don't know if you've already addressed it with folks who have made complaints, but I think there should be accountability on how the instructions got to this line crew to clear-cut live trees. And I would hope at some point, before the next meeting or during the next meeting, you might address it and explain to the residents how this happened, how this instruction came from, if it did come from the township and made its way through a work order or something to clear-cut, the buffer on 3rd Street, and not just the dead ones. So that's my first topic. And the second one, kind of going off of the last two, with the warehouse and the safety issue. Again, I live on Main Street, and I sent these to Wendy earlier, and on our street I have a little webcam that shoots out the front door, and if this comes and something is not done with the traffic, I think on Main Street there's one, it doesn't even say no trucks. It's just a cartoon caricature of a truck, and it's got the slash going through it. There should be signage on either end specifically to warn the drivers not to come through, because on my webcam in the last couple of weeks, you can see on Main Street, and this is like Main and Olive, tractor trailer. So it's like tractor trailer, and then on this, I have a 30-day feed on my Nest Cam, so this is all in the last 30 days. So here's another tractor trailer coming up Main Street. And then sometimes I guess they get lost because here's the tractor and it's coming up Olive Street. And it's trying to maneuver its way through the cars that are parked there. So you can see there's like trucks coming up Olive. And it's not just trucks.
Let me see that again.
Sure, certainly.
Can you grab that?
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
All right, the blue truck, that's mine, it's parked in our driveway. That guy didn't hit it because that thing's 40 years old.
While the mayor's looking at that, we do have a 3-minute limit on comments, especially when there's lots of people that want
Sure,
to talk. So
okay.
if you just wrap up, please.
Okay, will do. All right, and then if it's not just trucks, we also have, if you can see this one here on Main Street, recreational vehicles that go by all the time. This happens to be an ATV that's popping a wheelie and riding down Main Street.
Ugh. Anybody want to say?
All right, so the part with the trucks, I think is as much to inform you as it is the other residents that I don't know, that when you are doing your walks and walking your dog, you have to be aware that there are tractor trailers and there's recreational vehicles. On the side streets, yes. So, but that's it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. Real quick, same deal. Not a fan of the warehouses.
Oh.
Sorry, can you please state your name and address for the
Tanya
record?
D. Ray, 20 West Windway. Not a fan of the warehouses. Definitely not a fan of the ATV vehicles that are here going back and forth and riding, the guys with no helmets on. It's just dangerous. And thirdly, I'm just curious if there's an update, not tonight, of course, but an update on the board-on-board fences that are in Spring Meadows. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello.
Kelly Ganscott, 3 Valley Farm Road, Rancocas. I wanted to thank the mayor and Wendy for coming out this week and actually speaking to us about the trees that PSNG had taken down and working on a remedy for that, and then having an expert arborist come out and explain exactly what they were doing and why. So thank you for that. That was very proactive, and I appreciate it. Again, we know that this isn't necessarily the forum for our warehouse argument. However, as Roger said, it really, at this point, we understand, we've educated ourselves because we've had to, not necessarily because we understand what's going on with these board meetings. That's a whole separate topic, because trying to read through some of that stuff, it could literally be in Chinese. So we've had to educate ourselves a little bit and come together as a group and figure out what a by right build is, what variances are, what setbacks are. Again, I'd like to compliment, the committee, because I think we now have it right. I think the setbacks are now right. I think the use of warehouses being conditional is now also correct. I think the zoning in that particular area as residential on the side of a historic village within a 500-foot buffer zone is also correct. I would encourage, and I don't know if some of this comes from the Township Committee, you guys will know best, but the Land Development Board, this next meeting, the public is allowed to speak about the changes that the Historic Preservation Committee has asked them to make, and I certainly hope they uphold that, and I don't know if there's something else that can be done at this level when these changes come through. There's a lot of towns that have history, and this happens to be on the national level. And we really need to protect that, and we need to put certain codes and rules and guidelines in place moving forward to make sure that that buffer zone and everything there is protected. And again, to echo some of my residents, and I have spoken to the mayor about this, and I have sent emails. I'm guessing you guys are all getting them. I'm not getting responses from anyone. I'm sure Wendy is forwarding them. We've emailed the Land Development Board. We've emailed you several times. We've emailed the Planning Board several times. So some people acknowledge it, some people don't. I'm assuming you're getting them. Sent a picture today of warehouses, all white roofs on our side of town. So it's clearly an issue. What can be done about it at this point, I don't know, but if this happens, the damage control that's going to need to be done by this committee is enormous, and by this township, because you are talking about huge safety and traffic issues. And as Mayor Henley said
Ms.
at the
Scott,
meeting...
Can you start wrapping up?
Yep. As Mayor Henley said at the tree meeting, one thing is seeing is believing. So just spend a little time. Go sit at one of the corners. You'll see tractor trailers almost take the lights out, almost run people over. Adding another warehouse before those ones are filled it's going to be a disaster. But if it's disaster control after that, then that's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Rivera, 138 Winstead. I'll make this quick. So first of all, congratulations to the new chief of police. Well done. Congratulations to the appointment for our municipal clerk. Well done. So good work on that. I had spoken at a last meeting or a few meetings ago about the property that's located at Springside and Wood Lane. This is the sort of vacant gas station. You know, Sandy, it's the one across from the Wawa. And I had said that they're parking tractor trailers there. Now I've got pictures, right? So, obviously, if they're on that landowner's land, it's that responsibility of the landowner to enforce his no trespassing. But we do have some teeth here as a township, right? Because if it's not zoned for parking of tractor trailers, we can do something about it, right? So I'm asking you to, maybe reach out to the property owner. It's really overdue for some just simple property maintenance. It's kind of looking like an eyesore now as well. But the big concern, I think, for us, or me in particular, is that the fact that these truckers are parking their rigs there temporarily at least, et cetera. So I think that's an issue. Thank you.
Good evening. Don Charisi from 210 Bridge Street, Grand Cocos. This is the second meeting I've been to in several months. I remember the first one I mentioned to everyone that I had looked at the web page before and discussed the fact that there were a lot of beautiful homes, but there were no warehouses on display. I'm not going to repeat that, but we've had some excellent speakers who came here tonight, Randall among them, who actually came with some ammunition. Those pictures of the tractor trailer, I could get a tractor trailer on Olive Street. I mean, that's crazy. You hear every meeting, and to talk to people around town about the dangers. I don't think a picture speaks 1,000 words. You have a tractor trailer on Rancocas Village streets, it's a danger. You don't have to be a trained traffic flow person to understand that. We throw this term around loosely. A lot of towns do. It's a historic area. Well, I'd ask each and every one of you, when you go home, to look in the mirror and say, what do I believe is historic about Rancocas and West Hampton? What is it about that area and those communities that's historic? We have in our possession a replica of a farm that operated in the 1930s, early 1900s. Nowhere else in the state can you just go look at what life was like back then. Nelson Gravatt, he and his family built a masterpiece there. And we said, well, they want to build a warehouse. Well, warehouse is good because they contribute to the tax But once those buildings are torn down, they can never, ever be rebuilt. And that area, that little village, is gone forever. Now, you've heard a lot of comments over the last several weeks about traffic flow. And I know you guys are intelligent, educated people who have to understand that there's no getting around it. I mean, Beverly Rancocas Road is like the old Echo Speedway with people rushing up and down. And they've got these little cars that go about 20 miles an hour, but they make them sound like they're hot rods going, 80 miles an hour down there. I don't know what they get from that, but or what we can't do. When I was here the last time, the mayor mentioned he's not used to seeing this many people at a meeting. Well, Mr. Mayor, I think it's had its effect. First of all, I do appreciate you getting out there this week and standing along with your councilman nearby her house to get an idea of what she has to put out with every day and every evening, what it sounds like. And you made a comment, I believe, that, boy, it's noisy here. It is noisy. And that vibration shakes those houses that were built in the 1860s without the foundations that we would put in them today. And the effect on those homes is dramatic. I appreciate you getting out there and taking the bull by the horns, which is welcome. So the meetings have had an effect. And you see what we have here. We have a good turnout here, and we're going to continue to have a good turnout. The village of Rancocas is a small village, but it's a powerful and powerfully loud village, and it's not going to get quiet and go away. So you're all going to hear from us every meeting. And you're right, this is in the forum.
If you could wrap up, please.
Yeah, I will. Somebody told me once, if you get up there without a written presentation, it ends up talking about yourself. I haven't done that at this point.
Yes.
But I will be brief. I've said thank you for coming out. Congratulations to the chief, and I pledge my support to him in any way I can. But again, go home and look in the mirror. And what's historic about this area? You don't have to look far. But you do have an obligation. Well, we're all taking note about doing what's right for West Hampton. And, you may not have a direct impact on the planning board, but there's nothing that happens in this township that doesn't have your direct input. And I urge you to continue that and make sure this doesn't happen. And I pledge that the people in Rancocas will remind you pretty regularly in the future months. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Don. I have the other problem.
Ma'am, you can bend
Pull it down.
You can bend it. There you go.
Okay. Angela Zollner, 105 Wills Avenue. I had made a bunch of notes of things that I wanted to talk about. A lot of it was already touched on, so I'm not going to reiterate all of it, but to what was just said, I moved into Rancocas Village 13 years ago. It was the historic nature of the town that attracted me to it. The houses, the community feel, the small town feel. Since I've been there, I've seen Wawa, I've seen warehouses, I've seen now townhouses down Springside. It's starting to look like every other overcrowded town. And that's not what we want for Rancocas Village, and we're not going to just sit back and let it happen. We will speak up, we will say what we have to say, and we would hope that whatever role you play in supporting the people, that you think about what it is that's special about Rancocas Village. It's a little nugget of West Hampton Township that could be lost. And that would be a real shame if it was lost. Not to mention some personal things. Property values, safety, traffic, crime. Up in North Jersey, in a residential borderline area, a trucker murdered someone napping in their home. Just walked down from the warehouse and murdered someone. With all the additional warehouses, God knows what's going to happen. How many people are coming in? that we won't know from wherever they're coming from. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to be bad, and 99.9% of them are probably good, hardworking people, but you just don't know. And a lot of that is something to think about. You know, what do we want to do? Do we want to let the specialness of Rancocas Village to be lost to all of this? I don't know if there's any opportunity at this point to call that land protected, like the land in front on Beverly Rancocas Road. If there's anything you can do, please speak up and do something. Try to help save that little nugget of specialness. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is about the right height for me, so thank you. I'm Cindy Luongo, and I'm at 122 Bridge Street in Rancocas Village. I just wanted to tell you, I love West Hampton, and I love Rancocas Village. My house was built in 1838, and both of my children attended the preschool with teacher Nora in the little one-room schoolhouse that was built in 1822. What we have is special. It's not like North Jersey. It's not like cookie-cutter neighborhoods. It's unique. Santa comes down Main Street on a fire truck. He pulls every child into his lap and has a gift wrapped for them. That's what we do in the village. We don't do warehouses. I'm begging you, please, to talk to the Land Board Development. Please urge them. Follow the recommendations from the Historic Commission. If this thing comes to fruition, please, it's never going to blend in, but can we at least, have it have some historic semblance of a look to it? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Rebecca McGrath, 226 Main Street, Rancocas Village. Shocking, I'm sure. So I actually do live in a place where from my bedroom window, I will be able to see a new warehouse. I will hear the trucks. I will, from my son's window, I can't imagine what's going to happen when they, flip those dumpsters and all of those things. But actually, that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, I do want you to follow the guidelines or the suggestions. I do want to make sure that if it has to be there, that it's going to be as good as it can. I'd love it if we actually were able to maintain the buffer to the historic area, whatever. But really, the safety is the issue. Last Monday, helped my neighbor clean up a tree that had fallen in their yard and across their driveway and pulled power lines down Main Street, and honestly, that's what we do. We help our neighbor. We get the chainsaw out. That's what we do. Before 10 o'clock in the morning, we had that first part of the tree cleared. Everybody was able to get in and out of their driveway so that the tree cutters could come and pull the rest of the tree down and the whole thing. So between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., 6 tractor trailers drove past me while I was standing outside. I don't have pictures because I had hands full of leaves and tree limbs and whatever. My kids get on a bus, okay? Now, Rancocas Valley Regional School District may not have been thinking wisely when they told my kid that her bus stop was at Valley Farm Road and Main Street. And I called and I said, do you want her to stand in a cornfield, which isn't corn anymore, or do you want her to stand in the middle of someone else's property? There are no sidewalks on our end of the village, down pretty much past, Wills, I guess. There's no sidewalks. There is nowhere to walk your dog. When my children were little and in a baby stroller, it literally felt like, I was risking my children's lives to take them for a walk. I cannot imagine how we think that continuing to develop in this fashion is going to help that in any way. It's too much. And it's not just us. I mean, my kid gets on a school bus, and that bus pulls up Valley Farm Road, and it turns left onto Springside Road, and then it goes to the next right, and it turns into Spring Meadows. and they pick up a whole bunch of kids. And that left-hand turn in the morning is unbelievably dangerous for that bus driver to take. But not as bad. There's about 6 kids on the bus when that happens. Cindy's is one of them. In the morning, that's a problem. But they leave for school so early, it's not that bad. But in the afternoon, when that school bus is full, and only about 6 kids have gotten off of that school bus, and now they're taking a left-hand turn at 3:30 or 3:45, because yes, it takes that long for the bus to get here, and the tractor trailers are starting to stack up, and people are coming in and out of Spring Meadow and Wawa and Woodlane Road and Rolling Hills, and people are trying to get to the middle school to pick their kids up. It is so dangerous. I can't even tell you how many times that bus has almost been hit. And it's not okay for our kids.
Excuse me,
It's
ma'am.
just not.
Wrap up, please.
Sure thing. Speaking of Rolling Hills and Spring Meadow, this problem with these stacking tractor trailers will continue to be a problem, not just for us. Like, the tractor trailers are breaking the law. They're breaking, I don't know, whatever that is, the ordinance, whatever. It is posted. There are no trucks. They shouldn't be there. They should be getting pulled over. Just like the guy taking a left on Beverly Rancocas Road should be getting pulled over. And he did. Yay. But, you know, at least it's posted there. There's nothing wrong with these tractor trailers stacking up, and then we put a very, very dangerous entrance to a new warehouse. It's only going to get worse. And this is not just going to be us. Everybody who has to drive down Springside Road is going to deal with this. Everybody who has to go to the ball fields, everybody who has to go to the middle school, it's going to continue to happen. And I think it needs to stop. And also, an acknowledgement to my email would have been nice. So, thank you.
Hi, Robert Thorpe, 222 Olive Street, Rancocas Village. So I wanted to say thank you to Mayor Sandley and Wendy and Public Works for coming out on Monday on the tree issue. It was a big deal for us, huge deal. And I think people really appreciated you coming out and working on the next phase of that project. So most of the people know that I am the chair of the West Hampton Historic Preservation Commission. And one of our residents mentioned something which I wanted to state, is that on Monday, I did talk to Mayor Henry about doing a change to our ordinance, the Historic Preservation Ordinance. And what it would do is, it's a small change in one paragraph of the ordinance, and it would change our Historic Preservation Commission from an advisory commission to what is considered a strong commission in the buffer zone. What that would do is it means that any future projects in the buffer zone have to get approval from the Historic Preservation Commission before going to the Land Development Board. Okay? That would put protections in place for the future. I actually have a draft I've written. I'm going to present that to my HPC members a week from Wednesday, and if they approve it, it'll be on your desk, in your email, on Thursday morning. And then what I would hope is that the Township Committee would take that very seriously and implement that change to the ordinance as fast as humanly possible. And that would at least give us some protections for any future projects that might occur in our buffer zone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Trina Wakely, 200 Main Street in Rancocas Historic District, as Wikipedia calls it. We live in the oldest house, 1730. I agree with everyone saying it's hard to follow Bob here, but I was on the Land Development Board call and saw that Sandy, had talked about the traffic and the jug handle and everything. And then I brought up traffic on our street, and they said to bring it to Burlington County. I brought it to Burlington County, and they said to bring it back to here. So I'm going to bring it back to here, and I guess what I want to talk about is how fast the cars go up and down the street. We don't have any stop signs on Main Street. It's a drag race, constant up and down. if we at least had a four-way stop, because even with the buses and with the post office and people pulling in and out, it's kind of out of control. I sat there the other day and watched 5 cars do U-turns in the middle of town, just like whatever, blocking traffic. We had thought of a proposal of possibly even at every street, a stop sign, and the money that the police, if they sat there and watched everybody roll through the stop signs, would make so much money through tickets, or even just sitting there patrolling, watching them speed down. You can make extra revenue just to even pay for the police officer that's doing that. So, I guess it all goes in play, like we have so much traffic already, and then with the new townhomes and that happening and warehouses and everything, it's just, and it's we have no sidewalks, it's a small street, only 2 cars can fit, and that's my plea to you, is to think about that. Thanks.
David Fisher, 227 Main Street. I'm going to talk about the trucks a little bit. In 1 week's time, between 9/6 and 9/13, there was 4 trucks that we noticed that went through town right away. We also know for a fact the roads are not meant to handle the stress that are put on that the truckers bring in when they're fully loaded. You do know that the houses vibrate, not just from the noise, but they vibrate from the actual weight on the road. That causes damage to the historic buildings in town. I know my property sits back off the road a bit, but even so, being a builder, being a remodeling contractor, to go in and try to fix some of that stuff and have it be restored, that's very difficult to do, and have it restored right. So, the other thing is that on the other end of town, where the trucks will probably end up going to if they don't make the right turn on the Bridge Street, which is at East Ridge, that's where they come in at. There is no sign down there that says no trucks at all. Not even at the border where the end of the East Ridge parking lot starts and where town, I think, starts. So there's nothing there that stops them at all. And they have no way of turning around once they make that right-hand turn anyway. So what can we do? What can you guys do about it? It's very frustrating to see these truckers go down to town. On a positive note, I want to thank the police department, because it just so happened to be Sunday evening, a trucker was making a left-hand turn off of Rancocas Road into Highland Avenue, the municipal park over there. Cop car wasn't there when I pulled up to that intersection on the opposite side of the road on Springside. But after I went through the traffic light, my daughter was taking the video. There, sure enough, there was a cop right behind them. So thank you for pulling them over right away, because it was like, I couldn't believe they were actually doing it. We know that they were lost. We know that they missed their turn to take the jug handle to get over there. And otherwise, they would have been going down further, making a U-turn, and coming right back out on Main Street, on the Springside, to get across the Highland Avenue accordingly. So thank you.
Thank you.
Gil Scott, 3 Valley Farm Road. I don't want to reiterate everybody else's comments, but I want to speak to the board. I guess if this warehouse, has to be placed in front of my house, that you guys take consideration of the historic zone and make it as historically appealing as possible. I think a lot of people are misconstrued at the Land Development Board meeting because they referenced to the Prime Point building, whatever that is, 2 Springside Road, and that's not very historic. So I think the Catholic Charities, I think we have a model in town, the firehouse, that would be a lot more appealing, the gable roofs. And I think you guys as a board can make recommendations. I mean, I'm definitely against the warehouse, but if it's a buy right or it's already done deal, then I think the board can make recommendations that Mr. Dolan should follow, because I know when I was on that board, the Wawa had to follow recommendations for, that gable awning over their gas pumps. So why can he get away with a flat roof when they had to put an awning roof? And I think a lot of people just, things go through and people don't really understand what is actually being modeled. And I think as a board, you guys should maybe, acknowledge and tell the people what's actually being modeled after Pine Point, because that's what people know 2 Springside Road as. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Victoria Stevenson. I live on 210 Main Street in historic Rancocas Village. I've lived there for 18 years with my husband, and it's a beautiful community. It's historic. The Quaker Meeting House was built in 1703. It's a jewel. The Quaker School, 1822, and there's also a post office that was built there over 100 years ago. It's very congested at certain times of the day. If we have a warehouse at the end of the village, it's going to create so much traffic. And there's a Laurel Run up the street that has not been mentioned. They haven't moved in yet. There's hundreds of townhouses on Springside Road, and that is going to create a whole lot of traffic. People are going to cut through Valley Farm, go through the village, and create all kinds of traffic safety problems. So I really plead that something be done, because this is a little historic village. It is not an industrial park. Thank you.
Do we have, here you go.
Diego Minacapelli, 211 Bridge Street. I just want to thank you, Mayor, and Wendy, for coming on Monday and talking to us regarding the line of trees in 3rd Street. That communication was very good for us. A couple of months ago, I started talking to Wendy and somebody from Public Works regarding garbage around Rancocas Village. So we communicated and we took care of that to a certain extent. But communication is the key. So in the future, if we can continue doing that, that'll be great for the community. I am the president of the Civic Association, so if you have any questions, you know me already, you can reach out to me. I'm also the president of the West Hampton Historical Society, and because of that, we take care of the community center and the old firehouse. And so if you have any questions regarding the community center, or if you want to talk to us regarding the community center, please reach out to us, to me or anybody from the board. We are willing to talk to the board, to you, Mayor, to Wendy, regarding the community center, but just come directly to us. We are a new board, and we are open to communication, right? In the previous months, I've been talking about traffic. You had a study regarding the traffic between Main Street and Bridge Street, and I inquired to see if you can put a 4-way stop there, but I was told, again, I think by the administrator, that you're waiting for the new houses to be open, and so you're going to the second study and see how things are going to install the 4-way stop. We are saying all of this regarding the traffic because we're trying to prevent, and so we don't want to get to the point that it's going to be crazy. But if you can act on it previous to the new traffic that's going to be there, that would be great. And I also want to remind you, I think a couple of months ago, somebody with special needs, which lives in Main Street, a person that is deaf, he was inquiring to if we can do something about that, but I haven't seen anything or any conversation regarding that, so if you can follow up. That person lives in the corner of Main Street and Valley Farm Road, right at the corner where the new warehouse is going to be built, So that's another thing that I just wanted to put in the record. Of course, Rancocas Village is a special place, so you have to take a very special encounter towards it. And so if you can talk to the Land Development Board and enforce the recommendations given by the Historical Commission, it will be great, because we have to save the historic district. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. All right, thank you.
Thank you. We will now close for public. Two? Go ahead, what's up?
Real quick.
Microphone.
How do we address dumping in town? Because recently, folks have been dropping off pallets of fencing at various corners around town and grass along Green Street. So I don't know how that's addressed as a community.
Wendy or Chris, you can address it with them. You can address it with them after the meeting if you would like.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
No worries. I'm just joking with you. We will now close for public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 141-23, payment of, I'm on the wrong thing. All right. Dates to remember. Next Township Committee meeting is October 3rd at 7 p.m. Historic Commission is September 27th at 7. Land Development Board, October 4th at 7. Recreation Committee meeting, October 11th at 7. Timbuktu Day is September 30th at 11, Church Street. Fire Prevention Open House is October 12th at 6 p.m. Do we have any comments from committee liaison reports and comments?
Mayor,
Nancy?
I know I don't have to explain this to my neighbors in Rancocas, but some people may not know. There's 8 streets in Rancocas. Only 3 of them actually have a line down the middle so cars can go both ways. The others are small country roads, and if someone is parked on the side of one of those roads, you're just hoping that no one comes the other way, because there's no way of getting through. So imagine these huge trucks trying to come through, or even imagine a fire truck trying to come through when there's lots of traffic, or an ambulance if you need it. The roads are very, very tiny, and the roads are very, very old, and they do crumble very easily. And when you talk about historic, I don't know if people understand what that means, besides just having a bunch of old houses, but we have many famous people that came from West Hampton. Thomas Olive for Olive Street was a very famous abolitionist. Ben Franklin's son had a house in Rancocas, and he was the first provincial governor of New Jersey. In fact, it's been recorded that Ben Franklin would visit him all the time, and I'm sure we all heard the story of Ben Franklin with the key and the pipe and the electricity. That happened in Rancocas Village. So we have many, many things, historical, and I could spend an hour, but I will not, that have made us hit the historical map. And the buffer is very important. I don't have one of the oldest houses. Mine's only 1844. But I've said many times I've lost 5 ceilings from the vibrations because I'm right on the edge of 3rd Street. And as more trees get cut down, the worse the vibrations. I'm now fixing one ceiling at the moment. It's very important. We need to build out that buffer, and we need to make sure that healthy trees are not cut down. So I'm not going to go over everything everyone said, but my neighbors know that I support you 100%. I would like to congratulate Chief Brian Ferguson. I'm thrilled. He's our chief. I know he's going to take over and continue the great job that Mr. Ent did, and he will continue and build on that. My committee is a school. I had a meeting with Mr. Jim Dionato today. The first day of school went very well. He said he actually had no complaints from parents, so he was very happy. Their new parking lot is up, and people don't have to park on the grass anymore. It's wonderful. They are doing great construction. Construction's going well. They started a strategic plan. They're in stage 3. The first, some of you had a survey that you took, and they had public meetings. Next were individual interviews, and now in October, they're going to have a 2 full-day planning session in October to review the data and make plans for improvement. One of the other things I found out when we talked last time about the American Legion building, because of whether it is old and whether it's historic, and I found out that building was built in 1740. So I think it definitely is historic, and I talked to some of the ladies about trying to get a historic grant to fix it up as well as, but our open space money is for 3 things. It's for historic preservation, recreation, and buying open land. So some of that money could go for that. Some of the money that we have for the grant to community enhancement, that would certainly enhance that building. The building is in very poor condition. It's used by the American Legion and one of the other veterans groups. So that I still am very concerned about, that we support them. Wait a second. Nope. That should be it. Thank you, Governor.
Governor, like that. Feels good.
Have a seat.
That'd be a pay increase. I could use a few dollars.
Governor Franklin, he's only here in spirit. Thank you, Mayor.
I just wanted to say congratulations to our chief. I know that he'll do a fantastic job, so I'm excited to see that. And I do appreciate everybody coming to not only support him, but to support the village. We definitely hear you. As stated earlier, our position, we don't have much that we can do in that regards, but I'm glad that we're able to hear and listen to you speak on that. And I agree with all of you that it is a special place, and to preserve it as best as possible. And I hope the Land Development Board hears that as well, and in any way in their power to do anything about that. But as you know, the land is not ours, so we do not have control of who's purchasing and all of those things and building on it. So the Land Development Board will hopefully speak to you on your concerns.
Thank you. Can you comment or not? You good? Comment or no?
Just a congratulations to Chief Ferguson. I'm sure his leadership skills and his experience with the West Hampton Police Department will allow him to serve as a great leader for this township. And just for the residents, we do hear your concerns. Just want to piggyback off of what Wendy said. We don't have the ability to make decisions as it regards to that, but it is good to hear what you're saying, and hopefully communication and just continuing to communicate with the Land Development Board that the changes won't advance and go in that direction. So thank you for coming out, and thank you for expressing your concerns.
Again, a big congrats to Chief Ferguson. He's a township resident, been with the department for 22 years. I think he is going to lead our men and women into the future. I look forward to seeing it as well. The playground at Spring Meadows is nearly complete. I appreciate Public Works working on that, Wendy, everybody helping out. I look forward to swinging on the swing in a few weeks. A big thank you to all of the residents who came out tonight to voice your opinions, your suggestions, your comments. I encourage all of you to attend the Land Development meeting, LDB board meeting, and voice those opinions as well. And I, for one, would support the ordinance for a strong commission. I look forward to reading the ordinance when it comes up, sir. Thank you. That's all I have.
I have a lot of notes, so if I can read my handwriting. So I'll start off with this note. The playground at Spring Meadows, it's good to see, even coming here today, like a bunch of kids out playing. It's been like that for the last few days. It's good to see that those things are put to work, especially in an era where I don't know how much kids are out playing, but to be out there and parents watching them. I got an opportunity to see two parents, sitting on the bench while their kids were playing. It's been a while since I've seen something like that, especially in town, so it was a good feeling. Congratulations to Chief Ferguson. I mean, it's homegrown. You couldn't ask for a better situation for the guy. Coming up through the ranks, being here, knowing the town, knowing the community, and being a leader. I couldn't think of anyone else who would deserve the position more than him, and who's going to take the bull by the horns. As you can see, his passion around doing the right thing, making sure our residents are safe, and, putting us all into the position. As you can see from the leadership that he had previously and the support that they've given him today, as well as all of his officers and the firemen being here, and just the EMS personnel. It was a really feel-good moment for him, and I felt good, seeing it and being a part of it. And actually, my first time swearing in Chief of Police, it meant something to me as well. So I wish him the best of luck. Trees, I had to write down arborist because I keep forgetting the word, but so they had a master arborist come out and talking about the probability of the tree falling. I'm there to support and listen, ask questions, but, I think what they're attempting to do is not kill the buffer zone, but try to make sure everyone is safe, especially the people driving down the streets that we've talked about today. And, and I've had the unfortunate, and I don't know how it happened, but I drove by and saw someone's tree down and out there and over top of the van, right? And I got out the car, it was raining, and I got out the car to ask the guys if they needed help. And I said, listen, I'm no good with the tree, but if you need somebody to run the tools back and forth, I could do that. But I don't know they really understood exactly what I was saying. So, but I did see, they were like, and I was like, it's raining, I'll see you guys. You guys look like you're doing a good job. So, I understand the concern, but I also understand the other side of it. We try to put PSC try to put their master arborists out to say what tree should go down and what tree wouldn't. We also talked about a plan. A few months back, we hired a grant writer, and PSC&G had their governmental affairs person out there who talked about helping us to have a relationship with Millennium as well. That's our grant writer. And to be able to join forces, to be able to help us get some grants. They recently talked about in Willingboro, they had a grant where they put over 200 new trees in the community. So I think that one of the things that Bob said, and a few of the people who were out there who were able to hand off some really, really nice advice was, as a town, we're going to go through some things, right? It's not always going to be roses, but, we got to have a plan, and we got to learn from the past as well. If I had to do it over again, I would have wanted us to have a conversation about the trees previous to it happening. So then we can kind of give an idea of what the expectations are, and so then everyone wouldn't be caught blindsided. So, I'll take that on my shoulders as far as, just making sure that we try to communicate as much as we possibly can. My understanding is that they were going to take down approximately 10 trees that they felt like they were going to fall, but also, the communication, that did open up the lines for the communication with PSC&G to look at the grants and things, to put some new trees in order and start a new foundation and maybe creating a better sound barrier than the one that is currently there. So one of the things I talk about, and I've had, and a couple of residents have brought it up, is, being able to have an opportunity to see, I always call it like see, feel, touch, right? Like, I don't know that I'm somebody that you can tell. I have to kind of see, feel, touch. Like, I have to be out to understand. So I did hear that the street is very loud. It probably needs some type of sound barrier, but it also has to be something that's appropriate and right? Like, there were some suggestions, but we have to kind of figure out, and I don't mean me or we, I mean us, right? Figure out what's right for your community to try to help with that. And then to try to get some grants to be able to help buffer we don't want to do something that's inexpensive and that's a 10-year fix. We want to do something that's right for the area, that fits in, that is affordable, but we can probably get some help, right? We put grant writers in place to be able to help us with these sort of situations. So I look forward to that. I also would say I saw a truck go through Rancocas Village, and you're not wrong, you're right. Like, there's a sign on one edge of the, on one side of the town that has a circle and a truck, and then the trucks are kind of coming from the other side, they never really see it, right? So that's something that we have to look at, maybe getting a sign out there. I know, story goes, when I saw the truck right through, I saw it hit a branch, I spoke to the chief at that time about it, and we talked about different signs and things going in there. That was in the moment, right? Like, I saw it, I called him, we talked about it, we followed up on one day, and he was kind of going through those provisions. So I'll kind of talk to Chief Ferguson to see where we're at with that, but that is something that you are correct about, but something we have been trying to address to be able to be helpful. But that, aside from whatever happens with the warehouse that I can't really communicate about, but that was before any of those, not before, but without those things in mind, just because that's something that I've seen. One of the trucks, I believe, is a resident, because I've seen the truck parked on the street several times. So, I mean, that's probably one of us, right? Because we're easily forgotten, we're a resident as well. But I'm pretty sure, because I'm going to ride on my way home, I wrote down everything that I see in that picture of that truck, and I'm almost certain that that's someone who lives in town that's driving through, probably to get to where they live, because they parked the truck in front of their house. So, and Kelly, I didn't call because I spoke to you. I would rather, a lot of times, if you guys send emails, I've been pretty good with, if you send an email and you send a phone number with the email, I will call you, without a doubt. It's just easier for me, like, because I don't really get home till late, and then, to be transparent, typing on the iPad, I feel like it takes forever. But I will call you, or even better, if you're around afterwards, I'll talk to you then, to be a sounding board, I'll tell you what I think. I have no issue doing that either. So if someone didn't get an email back from me, I do apologize. But I did actually respond to an email later last night. The fences, that's going to be revisited on our 10-3 meeting. But also, just to give you an update, our new chief of police went out and had the police officers go out and address the cars that were parked in the wrong direction. A lot of the people didn't know, so it was fantastic that she did that, because it brought awareness to them. They had no idea. But I hope that you've seen a difference, because it is something that the police officers have addressed. So another piece of something that we did today, and I just wanted to give my personal feelings on what it was, and we kind of make a point to say how we do listen to the residents, and I think that some of you guys would stand by that, as far as, what you've seen as far as the difference that you've mentioned and things that we've tried to do. So one of the things we voted on was appointing our administrator as clerk. I'm not going to say that. Because I felt like we had another box that we could check. So one of the positions, and the position is posted, obviously, is to have an assistant administrator / open space coordinator. The assistant administrator, a lot of times, people will come up and say, we need a number 2 in the building. So one of the parameters they put in there is management experience, to be able to be a solid number 2 in the building listen, Wendy deserves a vacation, and maybe 3 or 4, right? So we have someone in the building who's able to run the building when she's not around. Also, the open space coordinator, personally, I looked around at some different townships. There's a township who had an open space coordinator. I called the township, spoke to the open space coordinator, and I said, what exactly do you do as an open space coordinator? Some of it was around recreation, which we have a recreation director, but some of it was around, and Bob knows more about the program than me, but preserving farmland so that farmers can only sell to other farmers. Fortunately, the other day, I had a client that I met with who had a farm, who sold their farm, and they only could sell to another farmer. So I had an opportunity to be able to talk to them about the way the program went, and they did say without that parameter, they could have sold to a developer for 4 times what they made, right? But they wanted to preserve their land to be a farm, and they sold it to a farmer. They told me what they did on their farm compared to what this person is going to do, and they had a lot of pride in that. So this new position is someone who can try to preserve some of that open space that you guys have talked about, preserve some of that rural area, and preserve some of that farm, and that'll be a piece of what they do. Now, some of their salary will come out of open space, right? A small portion of it because they're an open space coordinator. They'll also be able to help some of the recreation part of what we do, right? Because a lot of it is burdened by one person, and be able to put input in that. So I felt like that checked off a lot of boxes. And I felt like that person could also help Wendy, and Wendy could then, as a certified clerk, there was no need, I didn't feel like we need to hire two people for one position when we have so many other boxes to check. And what did I do? I mean, I talked to people from the past. I asked them what they thought about it. I ran it by people that I talked to that were in the community, asked them what they thought about it, and kind of gave them what the plan was, and then reached out to the to the board, and we talked about it in closed session. So I just wanted to be able to say what the thought was, right, behind hiring that new position. And then even now, what we're talking about, with, trying to preserve some of the area, land, and space that we have, and putting somebody at the forefront for the township that works for the township to be able to be a voice box for the residents and be able to preserve some of the rural areas. So that's all I got. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
No.
Huh?
Motion to go into closed.
Again? What are we talking about today? So, all right, do we have a motion? I got to read the whole paragraph. The older you get and the later it gets, the harder it is to see. So, resolution number 0919-2023, resolution authorizing the township committee and staff and support staff to meet in private session and authorizing the execution of a exclusion of the public from that portion of the meeting dealing with specific issues requiring non-public discussion, attorney-client privilege personnel. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Roll call.
Who's second?
Janelle.
Roll call.
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Longo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay.